Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Ivy and I do makeup sometimes. So today we're gonna be kicking off a new series on my channel called Everyday 3 Ways. These are like my 3 go-to looks. They're all brown and simple. When I'm not on Instagram, I like to keep it really simple. Actually on Instagram, sometimes I like to keep it really simple too. You know, sometimes you just wanna do a nice little brown look. It's fun. So this is the first one. This is my soft glam look. It has a solid number of steps in it, but it is really durable. I said that like it's some jeans. It holds up well. Just a little blot and you're solid. I'll go into the details with the products later, but this does hold up for a really good amount of time. It does have a bunch of powders. I'm kind of extra. You can really dial down some of the products, but I wanted to show you guys realistically what I do so you know, just so you know. So, you know, prepare yourself. It is a piece of routine. It has, you know, a good couple of steps, but you know, I'm a Virgo. I'm a perfectionist. So I do what I can to make it look as perfect as possible. So get ready. But you know, if you go through this and you're like, girl, that's a lot of steps for me, I'm really just looking for an everyday routine, or you just want something a little bit more simple, you just want to get started. I don't know. There are 2 more videos in this series, so definitely make sure to stay tuned. The first one is this one, obviously, the soft glam routine. Then we have the everyday routine. This is more like for lunch, school, that kind of thing. Probably takes about 15-20 minutes to do. Not bad, not bad. And the last one is the quickest, fewest products. That's the no makeup routine. Whenever I wear that one, I generally get compliments on my skin, not my makeup. So if that's more of the vibe you're going for, that last look is gonna be right for you. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for the rest of the series. And you know, now that we said all that, let's get into the tutorial. But before we get into the tutorial, good YouTubers tell you to subscribe at the beginning of the video. So feel free to subscribe to my channel. Okay. Let's get into it. All right, so before we touch any makeup, the most important thing is skincare. And of course that's true for any look, but especially for this one because we have a lot of coverage, a lot of layers, there's some baking, you know, there's like a lot of stuff. And in order for your makeup to sit really nicely, especially when it is that many steps and like not look cakey and stuff like that, you definitely wanna make sure you start with clean, hydrated skin. So yeah, I did my skincare routine like an hour ago. We're nice, moisturized. One thing I will note is I'm especially careful to wear eye cream on the days where I wear makeup, or at least like a thicker moisturizer or something underneath my eyes, especially just because mine can get kind of dry and then makeup won't sit as well on top of it. So, you know, maybe that's something to keep in mind if you have dry under eyes. That made like a huge difference for me and how my under eyes look, because when I first started wearing makeup, they used to look crusty. I'll be the first to tell you. Okay, so now for the actual makeup stuff. Can you tell I'm having fun with this bun? I don't wear my hair in a bun often, so now I'm just like, ah. The first product we're gonna start with is this right here. This is the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, and this is more of like a hydrating primer, which is good for me because I have combination skin-ish. It's really just my nose that gets oily. But the rest of my skin is on the like more normal to dry side. So I definitely want to start with a hydrating primer just to like kind of address that. And we're gonna, like, this is more of a matte look. So we're gonna go into like more matte stuff later, but you'll see how I kind of like compensate for having dry skin as I go. And because of all of this compensation, it doesn't end up looking crusty at the end. So, you know, starting off with a hydrating primer. The next thing we're gonna go in with is one of my favorite products of all time. This is my favorite foundation. This is the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear. My favorite foundation, and I definitely know the name. I wear it in the shade New Caledonia. This is the darkest shade it comes in, at least in stores, so they should definitely go darker with this. But this is like my favorite foundation match I've ever found. The finish of this foundation is more on the matte side, and the coverage is pretty full, but I'm gonna shear it down just a little bit by adding a couple drops of oil because, like I said, it's matte, dry skin, da-da-da. So that's what I'm gonna do now because it's winter, but in the summer, generally, I don't really do that. Got like that much, that's like 4 pumps. 1, 2. This is the ABH Hydrating Oil, by the way. Gonna go ahead and dot this on my face and blend it out using a Makeup Shack T40 brush. I was just going off about this foundation match, but it's looking a little light just because I got a little bit of a tan in Kenya and I didn't even realize, so, you know, but it's fine. By the time we cream contour and all that, it's gonna be balanced out. This is my favorite foundation brush, by the way, just because it's really big and dense, so Packs on the coverage really quick and blends everything out really quick, which is obviously convenient. And then I'm gonna take a sponge. This is also from the Makeup Shack. You can use code IV to save, by the way, on the Makeup Shack products. So I'm just gonna take the big part of the sponge and run over my skin just to kind of pick up excess product. I find that to be especially important when looks like this where you're gonna do a bunch of layering, just because you don't wanna layer a ton of product on top of each other because that can get kind of cakey. I often like to conceal the corners of my mouth with a little bit of a skin tone color concealer. I'm using the Jouer Essential High Coverage Concealer pen today. It's in the shade Filigree, and I just like to do that because I have a little bit of hyperpigmentation at the corner of my mouth. It seems a little nitpicky, but whenever I wear bold lip colors, I find that it's a little bit noticeable, so I just try to do that. All right, now that we're done with the foundation, we're gonna get into highlighting and contouring. And the way I start this off is by highlighting my nose, and then I contour my nose with creams, and then I highlight my under eye. The reason I do this in this order is because you know how people like bake the sides of their nose contour? It's kind of a similar concept, so I use my under eye concealer to kind of clean up the sides of my nose contour, and I just feel like it's neater in this order. I don't want to over explain this and make this video forever long, but just trust me here. I feel like it's neater, and I feel like using the concealer to do it is a little bit more effective than just trusting translucent powder to do it, because concealer actually has coverage, whereas translucent powder does not. So, you know, kind of takes away that dark brown color more effectively. Okay, I feel like I explained that okay. All right, so I'm taking shade 006 Sugar Daddy of the Beauty Bakery Instabake Concealer and highlighting my nose. And I'm blending this out with the Revlon foundation brush. I just kind of turn it on its side like this, and I really like it for concealer. And I just like to switch tools between the different shades of concealer, because if you use one the whole time, by the time you get to the last shade, the darkest shade is fully mixed into it, and it just kind of defeats the purpose of layering. And I layer intentionally. So I like to start with a brush and then switch off after the first shade. I don't mind if one or two of the shades mix together, just not all of them. Then I'm gonna take a little bit of a lighter shade just on the highest points and highlight again. This is shade 7, Creme Brulee. And this time I'm gonna use the sponge. And then basically between every step with concealer, even like the cream contour, I go over with like either my foundation brush or the concealer brush, and I blend around the edges to make sure everything is seamless. Now I'm gonna cream contour my nose using the Huda Beauty Tantour in the shade Tan. And my favorite brush for this is the little brush that comes with the ABH palettes. I feel like so many people throw them away, but they're so good for cream nose contour. And I know some people use it for powder too. I don't like to go super slim with my nose contour, so I like to bring it in just a little bit here and add some structure to the tip just to kind of give it more of like a button nose effect. But I really don't like when my nose gets super skinny. I feel like it looks weird. The good thing about doing this before your under eyes is that I can really blend it out and not worry about it like destroying my under eye. So I kind of go in. And then I go over with my foundation brush just to ensure that everything is solid. Now I'm gonna use the same shades underneath my eyes. Just a little drop on my chin. Not too much. I don't like when it gets too bright. For this first shade, I definitely like to kind of blow it out more than the next one. So I'm just gonna kind of blend upwards and out. Kind of want to think of the first shade like a transition shade. Then the second shade, we're gonna keep more in here. Take the foundation side, blend along the nose contour just to make sure it's all seamless. Now I'm gonna take Ofra Makeup Fixer Spray and spray my face. The next concealer we're gonna go in with is the Huda Beauty Overachiever Concealer in the shade Caramel Corn. I like to use this concealer last because it's more full coverage and matte, so I feel like that kind of aids in like covering up my under eye bags a little bit. The undertone of this is also more neutral than the last concealer we used, so I feel like it kind of like brightens up the under eye a little bit more without having to go like 50 billion shades lighter. Realistically, the brightness of this under eye is actually perfect for me right now, but I do like to go just a little bit brighter because by the time I finish up with powders and everything, I feel like it kind of tones down, so we kind of just add a little bit more oomph, and then by the time we do the powders, it knocks it back just a little bit more, and we end up right where I want it. I really just squeeze out a tiny drop of this concealer and apply it right here, and I'm lightly going to pat this Then I just take a little excess onto my nose, not a ton. Run over the sides of my nose with the foundation brush. Run over the edges with the foundation brush, followed by the concealer brush. Now using the same cream contour product from before, we are going to cream contour the face. I often get questions about why I contour right here. It just really helps like lift the face, and it also aids with like sculpting of the cheekbone, and it also helps not have a weird gap in your bronzer. I find that like if I look at old pictures and stuff like that, I just feel like something's missing, and it's this. So it just helps everything flow more seamlessly, and it helps kind of like snatch your face upwards, kind of like that tape drag queens be using. I feel like this is like the optical illusion version of that. I feel like you can already see it, just the lines there. It's like high ponytail, fresh braids, that look. Another thing I'm gonna mention is my placement of my contour on my cheekbone for cream contour. I didn't know this for a long time, but you kind of want to place your cream contour a little higher than you actually want it, because as you blend, it's gonna naturally just kind of like drop down just a little bit. So I used to just place it like, you know, right in the deepest part of your cheekbone, underneath your cheekbone. I don't know how to word that, but you know, down here, because that's exactly where I want my contour to be, but I actually kind of walk it up a little higher, and I place it right there. So I'm gonna place it more on the cheekbone. That was a lot of fucking product, but it's fine. And then I kind of connect back there because I have a wide face, so I kind of want to bronze inward a little bit. Then after that, chin contour. And sometimes when I remember, I do my lip. And now we're gonna blend all that out using a Makeup Shack T22. You still want to push that cream contour upwards. You'll notice that I'm kind of just making these little swiping motions like this. You still want to push it upwards. You're not intentionally blending it downwards. It's just naturally gonna happen. And if at the end of it you find that you need to blend downwards, you can intentionally, but just start pushing it upwards over the edges with the foundation brush. And now I'm gonna head off camera to do the brows before I set my face. So I'll be right back. All right, the brows are on and we are ready to start powdering. So I'm gonna take a little brush and buff out my creases. Spray down my face with like a fixing spray, not a setting spray yet, a fixing spray. If you're curious about the difference between a fixing spray and a setting spray, a fixing spray is supposed to like take away the powdery finish of your makeup. It usually has some kind of humectant in there, like glycerin, that draws moisture to the skin. That's how it keeps it from looking powdery. A setting spray is actually supposed to extend the wear of your makeup. So I use a fixing spray generally right before I do my powder, and also between some of the cream steps, just because it does have those humectants in it, which helps my skin from looking crackly and dry. So yeah, that's why I do it. Helps prevent dry girlies from looking cakey. And before those creases can get a chance to set in again, I'm gonna go in with my setting powder. This is from Beauty Bakery in the shade Cassava. I use this underneath my eyes and in the center of my forehead. I'm gonna take a little brush with powder. Then I'm gonna take the same powder in the shade Cacao and use that all over my face, starting with the perimeter. And then when there's not a ton on the brush, I run it underneath my eyes as well, just to make sure everything is really seamlessly blended. And like I said, this is the step where things start to tone down as far as the under eye goes. Then I'm gonna bronze using this Becca bronzer in Maui Nights. And I'm using a Makeup Shack T80 brush for this. I like to start doing the cheeks with bronzer as opposed to like starting with contour, which I know a lot of people do, just because I feel like bronzer is the thing that blends into everything, so it's almost like a transition shade. I don't know, that's just kind of like my thinking. I feel like it helps everything blend easier. On the forehead, and then right on the top of the nose. Then I'm gonna touch into my contour palette. This is the Studio Fix Sculpt and Shape Contour Palette. This always looks super ashy on camera, but like, believe me, these are darker than my skin tone. And I like to start with this warmer shade right here, and then sometimes I deepen up with the cooler shade when I'm feeling it. And I actually like to use a tiny brush to contour. I use a highlighting brush. This is a Morphe M501, and I feel like it just allows you to get really precise with it. It's like bronzer can be more blown out, but you want your contour where your contour is supposed to go, especially for little areas like this and right here. Make sure for these steps where you really have to go like back and forth and blend things, you're using a really light hand. That's why I'm kind of holding the end of the brush. You want to do that just to make sure that you are not disturbing the product underneath. Using the cool tone powder for my chin. And then I'm just gonna take whatever is left over from those dark powders and use it on the bottom of my nose. I also like to contour the sides of my nostrils just a little bit so they don't blend into my under eye concealer, you know. Then the last contour shade is definitely too light to like contour the perimeter of my face, but I do like to mix it with the warmer one a little bit to contour the sides of my nose. You generally want this contour shade not to be as dark as the rest of your face. And I'm not even gonna get a different brush, I'm just gonna pinch this one. Then I'm gonna be using my favorite blush. This is from Ofra. It is in the shade Punch and it is so pretty. It's a nice corally, coral. It's a coral shade. I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that to my cheekbones. I'm using a Real Techniques blush brush for this, by the way. Gonna do a little bit on the tip of my nose, and I always kind of like go a little bit up with it too. I love how tapered this brush is. I feel like it's really easy to either get like a super broad application with it, or if you use a light hand, you can kind of target the areas you want a little extra. Shum. Now that I'm done with the bulk of the powder, I'm gonna go in with a tinted brow gel just to make sure my brows don't disappear. Now for the eyes, we're gonna go ahead and prime. I'm using the Urban Decay Primer Potion for this. Like 2 videos back, I was talking about how I don't like to blend eyeshadow primer with my fingers, but for some reason with this one and the Morphe one, I just feel like I have to. And today we're gonna be using the new ABH X Amrezy palette. You can literally do this look with a billion palettes though. All it needs is like a medium brown, a dark brown, a black, and something ashy-ish for the lid. You'll see, you'll see. It can be done with 100 palettes. This look also doesn't take too many steps, which is really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this shade right here. And I'm taking a Time Los Angeles 203 brush, and I'm gonna run this through my crease. You don't even have to worry about blending it super perfectly. We're gonna kind of blow it out with a lighter shade here in a second, but this is our main shade, so we're just kind of starting off with it. Also, gonna kind of bring this downwards onto the lash line. Then on the same brush, we're gonna take this shade right here, OG, and we're gonna blend that out the rest of the way with that. Now using 1988, we're actually gonna properly build that up some more. And we're also gonna kind of wing that out into our bronzer. There we go. Then I'm gonna take this dark shade over here called Yugo. And I'm gonna take that on a Morphe M433. That's this brush right here. It's just kind of like a tighter, a denser blending brush. And I'm gonna work that into the crease. Now focusing a little bit more on the outer half. Then I'm taking the black from the palette and I'm taking it on a Makeup Shack T2 brush. This is just a really tiny, like flat brush kinda. I don't know, it's hard to describe, but this shape is really good for like stamping on shadow on the lash line. And I'm just gonna take that right along the outer corner. I'm just gonna stamp out a really tiny wing. You're gonna keep this really small because we're about to blend it out and you don't want it to go too far. It's a lot easier to add shadow than to take it away. Then I'm gonna take a tiny tapered brush. This is a Morphe M506, and I'm just gonna kind of blend that out. Just in the same direction we've been blending the shadow. After you've got that started, you can take the dark brown Yugo and use that to blend it out further. And then you just kind of want to play with the lash line until you get the look you want, going back and forth between the dark brown and the black. The goal is to have it like darker than the crease, but still blend like super seamlessly into it. So this palette doesn't have like a perfect shade for what I want for the lid. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix 2 shades together. I'm mixing Wasted and New Yorker. Like how I did that accent there? Thank you. Yeah, that's right. You just kind of want like a nice ashy shade, basically. So I'm just gonna pat that on my lid, and I'm kind of gonna use this to clean up my crease. You know, because your eyeshadows kind of can blend a little low. So I'm gonna pat this on top of them to shape that out. All right, that's pretty perfect. Then I'm just gonna take that New Yorker shade. I'm not gonna do that accent again. I'm gonna take the New Yorker shade again and use that to kind of blend between that and the crease shades that are down here. That was pretty as hell. It's pretty as hell. Makeup artist, y'all know about this. And I'm gonna finish off by blending between that New Yorker shade and the smoky liner with shade 1988. And that's on a Morphe M456. All right, that's the bulk of the eyeshadow done. I just haven't decided what I want to highlight my inner corner with, so I'm gonna move on to highlighting, like my face. And by my face, I mean my nose. Sometimes I like highlighting my cheeks, sometimes I don't. I'm in a phase right now where I don't, so I'm not gonna. So I'm just gonna take this Ofra Cosmetics X Nikki Tutorials highlighter in the shade Glow Goals, and I'm gonna take it on a Morphe M431. I actually prefer an M506 for this, but I don't have one near me. I can't find my Makeup Shack one, and it's just, you know, so this is what we're using. You just need a small brush though. And I highlight straight down to the bridge of my nose. You have to be careful with these highlighters because they are potent. I swear this is the most important part of the nose contour. Like, it brings everything together. And I actually think I'm gonna highlight my inner corner with this. This look also looks really good with like a matte inner corner as well though. Like that light shade in the Amrezy palette. I definitely said Amrezy the first time. So sorry, my queen. So sorry. But yeah, you could definitely use the light shade from that palette on the inner corner and it would look so good. So usually right now is when I bake right underneath my eyeshadow and the perimeters of my blush, because I feel like it just makes everything look really nice and seamless. But before I do that, I'm actually gonna take this powder from Maybelline. It's the Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in shade Medium Deep 30. And the reason I'm taking this right now is because my under eye just looks kind of weird. I'm having one of those days where your makeup doesn't wanna stick right. So I'm gonna use this to kind of blur that. It usually helps with that a little bit. It is gonna kind of brighten things up a little bit, but I'm sure it'll tone down once I dust away the setting powder. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Now I'm gonna take this setting powder from ABH. It's in the shade Deep Peach. And I'm just gonna place that right underneath the shadow and bring that down on the edges of my blush. And this doesn't have to sit for long. We're just gonna take our powder brush and dust that away. Just gonna touch into that first shadow we used, 1988, on a tapered brush and run that across there. Definitely making sure to blend it into our shadow from above. And I'm focusing this more on the outer corner. Gonna do a thin line of eyeliner. We're not winging it out or anything. This is just for the lashes so they blend really nicely. Then I'm gonna take a little bit of the pencil liner that's on the other end of this and use that to smoke this out on the outer portion, just so it blends nicely into everything else. You definitely don't have to do this, but it's just a nice little detail. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and hop off camera. I'm gonna do my mascara and my falsies, and I'll be back for us to do the lips. So see you in a millisecond. Lashes are on. This is the lash style. I don't know where the box is, so I'll have to put that in later. And now we gotta do the lip. Gotta go ahead and line with this NYX eyeliner in dark brown. Always bring it in on the outer corners. That's cute. Okay, I'm gonna wear Peach Matte Please, Peach Please Matte from Mented. Do I wanna leave it matte or go glossy? That's the real question. I think I'll leave it matte. I was gonna say, so this is the finished look, but I haven't used setting spray. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Urban Decay De-Slick. De-Slick? No wonder my makeup has been looking weird as hell. I don't even know how this ended up down here, but this is my least favorite thing from Urban Decay. It makes your makeup like weirdly shiny. I'm not into it. I like the original formula, but that's upstairs and I'm not gonna go get it, so just not gonna use that. I'm gonna use the Beauty Bakery setting spray. This is called Sweet Grace. This is kind of new to me. I'm still getting used to it. I like it so far, so yeah. Alright, so that is it for this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my soft glam routine. I know it seems almost like it's not my routine simply because there were like little bumps in the road, but honestly, sometimes even with a routine that you know, like the back of your hand, techniques you know and love, sometimes you just have an off day where like things just are kind of like messing up. So that's why that Maybelline powder came into play, but you did kind of get to see how I troubleshoot things sometimes. So yeah, if you're ever in a situation where your under eye just looks a little off, that powder helps. I know there were like a billion steps and a ton of products and everything in this tutorial, and it can kind of seem like a lot, kind of be overwhelming, so you know, don't worry. The next two are going to be a lot easier and a lot more just realistic. This is really just what I do for Instagram and all that, but you heard that all in the intro, so I'm not gonna repeat myself. But you know, next two are gonna be easier. We have the everyday makeup look coming and the no makeup look coming, and you know, they decrease in products and difficulty as we go. So yeah, if you like this tutorial, you know, if you're like me, subscribe to my channel, like, comment, all that. You know, I'd love to see you in the next one, so definitely make sure, you know, subscribe. Feel free to also check out my other social media pages, which are all linked down below. My Twitter and Instagram and TikTok are all at Ivy Kungu, so you know, come join me. And yeah, so that's it for this one. I'll see you in the next one.